Yum. Hello, 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 hello. Thank you so much for being here and welcome. It really thrills me to know that you are interested enough in my work to show up and watch one of my videos. And yeah, I'm actually making these videos for you. They're a lot of work, so I love to be able to hear how they're impacting you, or if there's anything during the video that is resonating with your heart, please drop a comment in the comments, because I love to be able to hear about how the piece is speaking to you specifically. You know, I'm really open to whatever you want to post down there. I would love to hear from you. So anyways, let's get into this video. This video is about my newest painting named Taste and See, the Kingdom of Fruition. And I'll explain a little bit more about that title soon. But for now, before we get too into the video, I would love to encourage you to watch some of the other videos about this piece, because while it was still in progress, I did a pretty long, in-depth 30-minute video about just kind of what it was speaking to me and what I was learning from it so far. So I don't want to repeat myself too much. I'm going to try and just talk a little bit about the main things that came through in this piece and point out some of the little details. But I also made two other videos. One of them, I am reading all of the words that are painted on the canvas, and it's truly a beautiful kind of like bath. It's like a waterfall of wonderful words to immerse yourself in. And that's a pretty short video, so definitely check that out. The other video is a voiceover. So during the video, you see pictures of this piece in progress as it unfolds, and yeah, it's actually really cool. So definitely watch that one. And the voiceover to it is a spoken word sort of poetry about what this piece means to me. But this one is a little bit more of a laid back video where I'm just gonna kind of tell you a few things. So first off, this painting taught me a lot, and that's actually one of my favorite parts about the artwork and painting it, is that when I spend, you know, a really long time, I think this piece took almost 3 months, I don't know, I wrote it down, but I can't remember, and then over 200 hours of painting time, not just studio time. So when you spend that long on a piece, it really is making space for some insights to arise from it. And also, you know, I went into it with some intentions, and those intentions expand and grow and kind of feed off of each other. And that's really kind of the motivation for me making these videos, is to be able to share some of those things I'm learning. And of course, I know that I haven't learned it all, so that's why I like to hear from you and see what you're learning. Alrighty, so this piece is a part of my series, The Awakening of the Senses. And this piece is talking about the sense of taste. And so I was thinking, how do you awaken your sense of taste? And what I received was that you are tasting the words that come out of your mouth. And for quite a while, I was speaking some pretty nasty words. I had a habit of complaining, and that complaining was so bad that I even complained about complaining, and I would complain to other people that I was such a complainer, and you know, all that stuff. But then there's these stories. And the stories that we tell ourselves usually come out of our mouth when we're talking to other people. So being able to have an awareness around your speech is a really good way to start to have an awareness around your thoughts and an awareness around what it is that's in your heart, what it is that you believe. Because what you believe and what's inside of you is going to come out of you, and it's so obvious the way that it comes out through our words. So even speaking with a complete stranger, you can get a pretty good sense of who they are, their values and beliefs, just by what they're talking about. And so I was thinking, to have an awakened sense of taste is to have all of the words that are coming out of our mouth being sweet to the taste and delicious. And being able to speak words that are delicious to other people to digest. And to digest words and digest new concepts and things like this that are going to feed us spiritually, and digesting things that are on our level, like not biting off more than we can chew, but also not missing out on delicious conversations like this by not partaking in the feast available to us. So back to these stories that we say. I actually had a lot of very limiting stories about myself Usually around anxiety and depression and stuff like that. And I won't go into too much detail right now because I've done that in other videos. But basically, I was identifying with these stories that I was telling about who I was, and it was creating that in the future. I was saying that I had anxiety, or I'd say my anxiety, and it's very easy to identify with those things and perpetuate them into the future. Of course, a lot of the healing that happened for me around anxiety was thinking about what I was thinking about. So really paying attention to the thoughts that were creating that emotional reaction in my body in the first place. But as I said earlier, it's really easy to start to pay attention to our thoughts if we're paying attention to our words. And then also in conversations with others, like if somebody asks me, how's your art practice going? Or how are you doing? I don't want to just go ahead and spill out all of my issues and problems to them. I want to think, what is a positive way that I could put this? What is a way that would make me feel empowered and give me those emotions that make me feel good as I'm speaking to the other person? It doesn't mean you lie to people. It doesn't mean that you don't tell them the truth of everything, but also knowing you don't have to give everybody the details when they ask you a question. And some people, you know, who are really, truly close friends are going to be able to know and see through what you're saying because emotions and vibes come out regardless of what you're saying. So it's really important to say things that emotionally feel true to you, but then also you don't have to say the absolute worst story that is coming up. And whenever you're talking about something, it's drawing your attention to it. And then when your attention is on something, you see more of the same. And that's not to say that those things are appearing because we were talking about it, but it is to say that we are focused upon it. So if you're focused upon a negative issue, you're going to constantly be seeing more negativity around you. Or you can focus on something positive, empowering, joyful, peaceful. It doesn't have to be like, yeah, everything's great in the world. It just has to be like, I'm feeling really peaceful about the situation, knowing that everything is happening for my good, regardless of what it looks like right now. You know, just having that underlying joyous musical tune in your life. And then that is what you're going to find more of. A really simple way to change the way that you speak and to make your words more sweet is just to replace a few negative, degrading words with more empowering ones. Like the word hard, for instance. Anytime you say hard, you could catch yourself and change it to challenging. So you could say like if you normally would say something like, it's so hard to wake up in the morning, you could say, it's challenging to wake up in the morning early or whatever, you know? And it's not that it is changing your situation, but your subconscious mind is listening to everything that you're saying, and it's actually more empowering to you, and it feels better for you to be able to say that this is a challenging thing in your life. And another word like that is struggle and try. Why do we even use these words? Why do we use the word struggle? Like, man, it's such a struggle to get out and exercise, or it's such a struggle to make dinner every day and stuff. Why don't we use words that are more empowering, that maybe are like, I'm so thankful I have the opportunity to get outside and move my body. I'm so thankful that I have food to cook with. You know, just using different words can change our entire outlook. Another thing that word try is like, anytime you're saying like, I'm trying to eat healthier, you could, instead of saying try, you could just say, I'm eating healthier. Or instead of, maybe it's not super honest to say that you're eating healthier, maybe you can just say, I'm focusing on eating healthier, or I desire to eat healthier, instead of saying I'm trying. Because that word trying really tells your subconscious mind that you're not there yet, it's not completed, and it's not something that you're actually doing. The other word is should. I don't think we need to use the word should, because sometimes we're like, you should be doing this, or I should be doing that, or I should be here, and I should be there, or I should be behaving a different way. And it's so disempowering to say that of yourself. It's so much more empowering to say things like, I'm excited to do this, I want to do this, I'm thankful to do this, I'm thankful I'm who I am. I know maybe that I shouldn't be the way that I'm acting right now, but I know that I'm on a journey and I'm practicing and I'm getting better and it's okay. So just get rid of that word completely. Get rid of the word struggle, get rid of the word hard, get rid of the word try. And the other one that I was reading in a book this morning, which is a little bit harder to wrap your head around, is the word my. So instead of saying something like, it's my anxiety, you can just use the word like the. Or instead of saying like, my body is in pain, you could say the body is in pain, because technically we are not these separate forms. And when you start to identify with those things, it's almost like saying, I am anxiety, or I am my painful body. And it's easier for your mind to disconnect from having that identity in those things when you use something like the anxiety or the body. So that's something I'm playing around with that I'm definitely excited to try. Alright, so a little bit deeper into the spiritual side. A lot of you know who've watched my videos that I have a very, very deep, strong foundation in Christianity. And so that really sheds a lot of light on the way that I paint and the way that I have these concepts and insights coming up. So there's actually quite a lot of spiritual stuff that's kind of rooted in the Bible that's in this painting, surprisingly. And I don't even try and do that, it just happens. But anyways, the title is pretty biblical, I would say, because there's a verse in the Bible that says, taste and see that the Lord is good. And then Jesus is always talking about the kingdom of heaven. So this idea of taste and see the kingdom of fruition just kind of came from me because this painting is a prayer for the manifestation and completion and fruition of my life, I would say. So kind of like my art practice, not that I want it to be at an ending finish line kind of thing, but it's more an intention to be able to enjoy the process and know that I'm already right where I need to be and I'm already completed. And that idea of the kingdom of fruition, like the kingdom of heaven, and being inside of us already, as Jesus said on the cross, it is finished. And just that whole idea of salvation already being completed, already we are with God, already we are one with God. So it's just this idea of like, taste the completion of your joy, of your salvation, of your life, of your love. Just taste and see who God really is in your life. Taste God as the peace that he appears as, or she, or whatever you want. I don't think God has a gender. But anyways, taste and see God as the love that shows up in your life. Embody that love. Embody divine love. Embody joy. Embody peace. Like the only way that you can really experience divine love is to be divine love. And really, when you are one with that love, that is when you have that complete, joyous journey. And I would just say that it's really like stepping into a whole new reality. Like this gateway is a beautiful picture that you're changing, transforming, like moving from the old way of thinking, the old way of speaking, and moving into your new life. And it's a completed life, it's a fulfilled life. Maybe you don't have $1 million in the bank, but you feel like you have $1 million in the bank. And it's not really about feeling so much as just like knowing that you have an endless supply. And that's just a money example. It can be with anything, with a loving relationship, with fulfillment and purpose, with the pathway that you're going on. So just really stepping into that new life with all of the completion, but not on your own. So that's kind of an interesting area that I'm exploring right now, is just this idea that we are God, but we are also not. So kind of like with this gate, Jesus said, I am the gate, and it says, I am the gate on it. And so that's really to be able to draw our attention to the idea that When we embody the Christ consciousness, when we embody the gateway into transformation, that is when we are able to step through the gate. But also the idea that you can't go back. There's no unlearning what you've learned. There's no denying the truth that is part of your life right now. And there's no going back to any limited, fear-based scarcity mindset thinking. So it's really a commitment when you move through into that new transformed life. It's a commitment that is going to be super painful if you do backslide, and you will, but that's something beautiful as well, that when you feel negative emotions and pain, you know that you're going in the wrong direction, or you know that you're not feeling the way that God feels about you. You know that you're not in line, and you know you're not 100% completely one and connected with God when you feel those negative emotions. And it doesn't mean that that's bad, it just is a arrow pointing you in the direction that you do want to go. So then there's these pots of fire and rainbow. And I don't know, I got some picture where these things were there. I received an idea that there should be pots there, and I was like, what is in them? And eventually, just my own insight arising, which I would love to hear what kind of insight you might have about it, because it can really mean anything. Basically, I'm kind of thinking that before you can make that commitment and go through that gate, you do have to leave behind some stuff that's not serving you anymore. So you can put in the fire whatever it is that you don't want to take with you, and you can surrender to the rainbow whatever it is that needs to be purified and transformed in your life. So it's kind of a picture of God, per se. So this inner God that is something that I grew up being taught was the Holy Spirit. And really it doesn't matter what word you use for it, but we all do have that God DNA. And you have to line up that beautiful part of you with the will of the larger flame, the larger God. So it's kind of like, it's not that they're two separate things. Super hard for me to explain because I hardly can understand it and wrap my head around it. But if you are the gate, then you are the one with the power inside of you to drop in the pot everything that does not serve you. And it's really like this surrender of your own will, a surrender of the need to control whatever it is in your life that you have to give up and surrender to something larger than you. But yet at the same time, it's not outside of you. So I guess you can't just throw all of your burdens on yourself, but you also can't hold on to all of your burdens, and you also can't throw all of your burdens on God. You really have to stir up within you the part of God that is going to transform and purify all those burdens and burn them and get rid of them completely. And it's something larger than you that you have to initiate, that doesn't happen unless you are surrendered, unless you do release and let go. Or I guess, we all have different words for these things, and I don't know if this is resonating with you at all, or if you're feeling any sort of truth in this, but if you are, definitely let me know in the comments. It's definitely something I'll talk more about because I'm still wrapping my head around it. But that's the vibe that I'm getting from the gate with the pots and stuff. The other thing that is so beautiful about this piece is some miraculous things that are happening. So when we are in a state of absolute surrender and love, miracles happen. And I love the stories in the Bible. And one of them, which up here, you can see 5 loaves and 2 fish. And Jesus fed 5,000 people with just that small basket of food. And then later on in the story, the disciples that were with him started complaining to Jesus, like, we don't have enough food for all these people. And he did another miracle, and he was like, do you not understand? How are you so faithless? And this is like something Jesus said to them so many times, like, how do you not have faith? How do you not understand what's happening right now? And I think that many of us, and all of us to some extent, are in this place where we don't believe in the miracles, and we don't think they're real. Like, and I'm not saying that you should be able to open your fridge and always have food without ever having to go to the store, but I am saying that we have to come to a place in our lives where we realize the limitless possibilities, and by realize, I mean 100% fully believe them, to where it is actually a part of our body, a part of our DNA. We're embodying it, we're living it out, we're speaking it, we're talking it, we're acting it, we're doing all the things that demonstrate that true, no doubt, belief, no fear, knowing that is inside of us. And I know that the word knowing came up in my last painting too, so it's kind of cool that that's like a running theme in my life. And I love that about creating artwork, that it really kind of lets you know what you're focused on and what's a running theme in your life, and something that I've really been embodying is knowing, and that's something I'm focusing on, although I wouldn't say that I'm focusing on it consciously, but it's definitely arising. The other thing in this painting that's kind of miraculous, that I still do not understand, that I just had to put in there, is the chalice and bread, which Jesus was saying, if you do not eat my flesh and drink my blood, you have no place in the kingdom of heaven. Do I know what that means? No. But something I will contemplate more. And I think that just means, like, when you eat something, it becomes a part of you. So Jesus is saying, you have to make me a part of you. And it's not that we have to make the man, the physical body of Jesus, a part of us, but that consciousness that is a part of us already. We have to recognize it, and we have to embrace it to really have that full knowing, that full power and belief in our life. Knowing the Christ consciousness as a part of us in that way gives us the ability to become the gate, gives us the ability to transform our lives and to utilize God's power. And something I have to mention is that in the Bible it does mention that God is Word. And when we speak, we are using the power of God's Word coming out in a very physical way so that other people can hear. And you could just go on and on about the beautiful ways that we communicate, even beyond language, and just the ability of the internet nowadays to spread information. And it's something that we should not overlook, that God is Word, and that our Word is God in action, God's power in action. And it's sad that we would ever use our words to tear ourselves or others down. Why are we tearing each other down with our words? It's just habit. And we have to practice. We have to move out. We have to tame the tongue. We have to move upward, level up. It's a journey, and it doesn't matter where you are in that journey, as long as you have some desire to make that commitment. And really, our end goal, our end desire is to be one with God. And the kingdom of fruition is to be one with God. Like, that is the completeness. That is the finish line. And if we can attain that on earth, and by the way, we are already one with God. A lot of us just suppress it and don't realize it, don't know it, don't use it. And a lot of us are using it carelessly. And it's no doubt that everything you put out in the world has a reaction that either comes back on you or someone else. It's a consequence. And if what you were doing, if what you were saying had no power, that would not happen. So there's so much power, and I don't even know what the word power means per se, but there's so much energy and movement and ability to transform within our word. The other thing cool that I have to mention about this is this honey Bible, which it's just about words being sweeter than honey, our words being sweet on our taste. And there's definitely some other videos that talk more about that you should check out. And I'll link all the videos in the description that are about this piece, because I think I've made at least 4 or 5 at this point. So again, as I was talking about whatever we're saying, coming back, and there being consequences to everything we're doing. Another thing that I was really getting from this piece is the fruit, you know? Fruition, fruit, the taste of fruit's delicious, but fruit has to begin in a seed. And the fruit is what plants the next seed. So everything that you're saying, if you really saw it as a seed, then you would wonder if you're planting delicious seeds or bitter fruit seeds. And we just want to be using our words to plant beautiful things for the future. And sometimes that just means, like, in a kind, gentle way, telling people, I don't want to talk about this right now. I don't want to put my attention on this negative stuff. I don't want to talk about this thing. And it's not that you can't be there for your friends and listen to them, but I've even had to walk away from conversations from complete strangers who are talking about things that I do not want to perpetuate or to have in my life. And it's not that I'm turning a blind eye to those things, but I am using the power of my perspective to divert in other directions and to create the life that I feel is most in line with God's will. And in their life, if they're talking about that negative stuff, maybe it is in God's will for them to have their attention there and to transform it in some way, or to teach them, bring them down to those low places so that they can be risen up. But either way, I know where I stand and where I belong. And sometimes you just gently have to tell others, this is not something that I feel I should be talking about right now. Or you can think about yourself as a child, and there's certain things that we don't talk about with children, at least, you know, if they're not your own children, because it's inappropriate, and you can tell other people. Like, you can think about if someone's starting to talk to you about something and emotions that are not serving you or emotions that you don't like are rising up within you, you can think about yourself as a child and just be like, you know what, I don't think this conversation is appropriate to be talking about with me. And you can just tell them that I don't have any interest in continuing this conversation. And I've actually walked away from people that even after telling them that, they continue to talk to me about it because they have their opinion that they want to say and they want to press it on you or like get you to agree with them. And it's not like I'm trying to avoid an argument or anything. I just know that that conversation is not serving me. That conversation is not moving me forward in the direction that I desire to go. So definitely, if you have to, put your foot down and just tell people, sorry, I'm not going to talk about this. Or you can kindly encourage people. You know, sometimes you don't really want to give people all of your knowledge, which is something I love about these videos, because you're choosing to watch them, and if you don't like it, you can turn it off. But when you're in a conversation with someone and they're giving you information or you're giving them information and neither of you are on the same page, it's actually much better just to walk away from those conversations than to continue them. So again, this tree is just a beautiful picture of how a very small seed can grow into a very big thing. And you'll be able to tell what kind of seeds are in a person's heart by the fruit they're bearing. And nothing really needs to be said more about that because it's so obvious. You can see by the way people are acting and the way their lives are unfolding, the kinds of seeds that they're planting in their life. And I would just say to, you know, join me in this commitment to watch what we're talking about and replace certain words and discontinue certain conversations. But then the last thing I'd really love to mention about this piece is there's a verse in the Proverbs 31, the Proverbs 31 woman who I've always wanted to be, talks about the teaching of kindness and counsel are on her tongue. And this painting really opened my eyes and has given me a prayer to have teaching of kindness and counsel on my tongue and to share it openly and to not be afraid. So like posting videos like this, writing and such, and just not be afraid of how people are receiving it or taking it, and know that I'm on my own journey and learning, but I want to be able to speak whatever it is that's currently on my mind, because there's a lot of fear around posting videos for me personally, and that fear is dissipating. Even saying that is not empowering, but I'm just being honest. There's a lot, it's scary to put myself out there, to put something that is so deep meaning to me personally out there for other people to scrutinize and contact me about. And it's just like, if you don't agree with this, don't watch it. Do not tell me that I'm on the wrong path. I know I'm on the right path because I'm being guided and led, and I have no worries about that. So yeah, I really care about a lot of my family, my friends. I care about anyone who's joining me on this artistic adventure and this journey. I care. But regardless of you guys, and I'm posting this for you guys, but regardless of you, I have to speak what's true for me. And then those who are led to these videos, I believe are divinely guided. And so, yeah, if you're here listening, that is great and awesome, and I know that you are finding what you need when you need it. Anyways, we're always given the next step. We're always given what we need in the moment. So if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, notifications, all the jazz, and definitely consider supporting my art practice, because I would love to gather a bunch of like-minded people. And I've been thinking more and more about making a video about my vision for my work, but so far, just like in a nutshell, besides having it be a practice of worship and a spiritual practice, I also really want to gather a lot of like-minded people so we can grow together and be able to create a community that really inspires all people in all walks of life that need this information, and not that it's just information, but inspiring people to really live the talk, walk the talk, do whatever it is that you believe and whatever it is that's truest for you. And I've actually been thinking about maybe doing a little bit of spiritual guidance. You know, if any of you want someone to walk beside you in your journey, or to give you a little bit of extra inspiration, or remind you of the truth that's already in your heart, or just help you chip away some of the limiting beliefs or anything that's not truly you, anything that's not your true self. If you need someone like that, I am willing and ready to offer my, I don't know what you'd call it, service, guidance, help, I don't know. I'm just here for anybody who wants it, and definitely get in touch with me. All my contact info is in the description, and my website has all of that too. So thank you so much for being here. I'd love to hear from you. Bye 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 bye.